From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. In the last 24 hours, Israeli airstrikes have killed 68 Palestinians and injured 235 others in Gaza. 40 displaced Palestinians, including 14 children and 9 women, are among the dead. They were sheltering at the United Nations-run Al-Sardi school, where 70 others were injured. The UN refugee agency UNRWA chief Philippe Lazzarini says the attack on the school, which was housing 6,000 displaced individuals, occurred without warning. CNN and Washington Post quote weapons experts saying Israel used U.S. munitions in the deadly strike. The Israeli military used at least 2 small-diameter bombs supplied by the U.S. Israel claims it targeted a compound allegedly used by Hamas fighters, but Hamas disputes this claim. Israeli artillery also struck a family home in the town of Al-Zuwayda in Gaza, killing a child. Further north, strikes in the Shati refugee camp resulted in more casualties. The Israeli military announced the death of one of its officers near southern Rafah district. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization reports that since the start of Israel's war on Gaza, as many as 727 health workers have been killed and 933 injured. Israel has killed at least 36,654 people and wounded 83,309 since October 7th. It stands accused of genocide at the International Court of Justice, which in its latest ruling has ordered Tel Aviv to immediately halt its operation in Rafah. Spain's Foreign Minister José Manuel Alvarez has announced Spain's decision to join South Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, or ICJ, over allegations of genocide in Gaza. The move, which follows Ireland, Chile, and Mexico, aims to address Israel's actions in violation of the Genocide Convention. It adds to a growing international coalition seeking accountability for Israel's war on Gaza. Alvarez has expressed concerns over the conflict's regional impact and emphasized Spain's commitment to peace and international law. The decision aligns with Spain's recent recognition of Palestine alongside Ireland and Norway, which sparked Israeli backlash. Israel has rejected the accusations of genocide, claiming it is complying with international law. The ICJ's ruling, although binding, faces enforcement challenges.
El tribunal. Lo que nosotros vamos a hacer es, y es aquello que permite el estatuto del tribunal, intervenir en esa demanda apoyando al tribunal en su interpretación de las medidas cautelares que va haciendo y aportando todos aquellos elementos que puedan ayudarle a aplicarlo. Sobre lo que es en sí el delito de genocidio, esa es la labor del tribunal y, como he dicho en muchas ocasiones, por supuesto, España, igual que está haciendo con las medidas cautelares, apoyará la decisión que tome el Tribunal Internacional de Justicia.
A Jewish U.S. Army officer has resigned, citing his opposition to American support for Israel's war on Gaza. Major Harrison Mann served in the Defense Intelligence Agency. In interviews, he explained he could no longer support a campaign resulting in high civilian casualties. He highlights that the U.S. has provided Israel with substantial military aid, which he believes has contributed to the deaths of thousands of civilians. Mann criticized the Biden administration for continuing support despite these actions, and he expressed his moral conflict as a descendant of Holocaust survivors. In his resignation letter, he said that as a descendant of European Jews, he was raised in a particularly unforgiving moral environment when it came to bearing responsibility for ethnic cleansing. The New York Times reports that Israel reportedly funded a covert digital campaign aimed at influencing U.S. lawmakers, particularly black Democrats. Israel's Ministry of Diaspora Affairs hired Tel Aviv-based firm Stoic to execute the $2 million operation in October. The company created fake news websites and social media accounts and used AI-generated content, which critics have called sloppy and ineffective. This was to disseminate pro-Israel messages targeting legislators like Representative Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Raphael Warnock. Comparisons were drawn to Russia's interference in the 2016 U.S. election. The Digital Forensic Research Lab and Israeli disinformation watchdog Fake Reporter initially uncovered the scheme, which focused on promoting pro-Israel narratives and anti-immigrant content. The campaign has been deemed irresponsible and anti-democratic. Renowned Jewish civil rights activist Aryeh Neher has condemned Israel's blockade of humanitarian aid to Gaza, calling it genocide. Speaking to Anadolu news agency, he highlighted the severe impact on Gaza's children, citing malnourishment and potential lifelong psychological damage. Despite previously opposing South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, Nayer's stance shifted due to the ongoing obstruction of aid. He acknowledges the limited enforcement power of international courts and expressed doubts about their ability to end the conflict. Nayer, a founder of Human Rights Watch, also commented on the political ramifications in the U.S., noting the potential impact on President Joe Biden's re-election prospects. He critiqued Biden's long-standing support for Israel and skepticism over the success of a proposed Gaza ceasefire. Nayer expressed pessimism about a two-state solution, citing the need for renewed leadership to achieve lasting peace. More than 40,000 New Jersey voters have chosen the uncommitted option on the ballot, signaling support for a ceasefire in Gaza. Although President Joe Biden secured 88% of the vote, nearly 9% of Democratic voters in the state remain uncommitted. In New Mexico, the uncommitted vote, driven by opposition to Biden's handling of Israel's war on Gaza, received nearly 10%. Democratic candidate Marianne Williamson gained nearly 7% of votes. Healthcare disparities plague Muslim women and minorities in the U.S. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Despite the U.S. spending more than $4.4 trillion on healthcare in 2022, racial and ethnic minorities, particularly Muslim women, face significant disparities. According to a study on their interactions within the healthcare system, cultural and religious practices such as a preference for female healthcare providers and the need for accommodations such as prayer times are often misunderstood or ignored, leading to gaps in care. The COVID-19 pandemic worsened these disparities. Black and Hispanic women, including Muslims, experienced increased risks and complications during pregnancy and childbirth. Chronic conditions such as diabetes and hypertension worsen these risks, contributing to a decline in life expectancy for minority groups. The American Muslim community's diverse backgrounds are often obscured by inadequate census categorization, affecting resource allocation and healthcare access. Studies show Black patients receive worse care than white patients in more than half of quality measures. They highlight the need for systemic changes to address such inequities rooted in historical and ongoing policies. Policy choices made by federal, state, and local leaders over many decades have led to economic suppression, unequal educational access, and widespread housing segregation. A father was arrested for disorderly conduct after preventing his daughter from shaking hands with Black Superintendent Rainey Briggs in Wisconsin. The incident at Baraboo High School was captured on video. It shows Matt Eddy jumping on stage, forcibly dragging Briggs away and shouting, "I don't want her touching him." His daughter, clad in a blue cap and gown, expressed shock, putting her hand to her forehead, moving her tassel to the left side of her cap, and walking away. 3 police officers stepped in to take her father off the stage. The school district has faced repeated racism issues. It stressed its commitment to celebrating graduates' achievements and is cooperating with law enforcement. Briggs has not yet confirmed if he will press charges. On social media, many are condemning Eddy's actions as racist. United Nations Relief Agency Chief Martin Griffiths has condemned the global failure to resolve conflicts and uphold the UN Charter. Stepping down due to health reasons, Griffiths expressed his disappointment, noting the world is in a worse state than when he started in 2021. He highlighted that 300 million people need humanitarian aid, but only $8 billion of the required $49 billion has been raised. Griffiths emphasized the worsening crisis in countries like Ethiopia, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Sudan, and Gaza, among others, criticizing the inadequate global response. He praised the Black Sea Grain Initiative as a rare diplomatic success, yet he warned of a potential famine in Sudan affecting 5 million people. Griffiths called for prioritizing humanitarian aid and a stronger stance against impunity for attacks on aid workers and facilities. He stressed that current efforts are insufficient to address the growing humanitarian crises. Racist graffiti was found on the wall surrounding the home of an Arab-origin citizen of France, the French Council of the Muslim Faith said on Wednesday. The council's website said it was reported that Arabs to the crematorium was written on the wall without disclosing when the attack took place. It indicated the graffiti referenced Jewish genocide during World War II. The group highlighted concerns that widespread racist rhetoric contributes to the spread of racist actions on our country's streets. The council expressed solidarity with the victim and noted sadness for the incident. It emphasized the importance of equally condemning all forms of hatred. Uzbekistan's top Islamic authority has retracted a fatwa declaring cryptocurrencies haram or forbidden according to Islamic law, attributing the verdict to carelessness and ongoing studies. The Fatwa Center initially cited the volatility and gambling aspects of cryptocurrencies, claiming they do not meet standards of Sharia or Islamic law. Despite their initial stance, the Fatwa Center apologized, clarifying that the ruling was premature. The center's opinions are influential among Uzbekistan's predominantly Muslim population, but lack legal enforcement. The government regulates the crypto sector, viewing it as a potential investment source. Currently, crypto transactions are legal through licensed providers, with penalties for using foreign exchanges. Uzbekistan's power deficits hinder the establishment of licensed crypto mining operations, despite existing regulations. Across post-Soviet Central Asia, crypto mining outfits, both legal and illegal, have emerged as a new source of economic enrichment for elites. They place a heavy burden on aging, undersupplied electricity grids. The Georgia Court of Appeals has temporarily halted proceedings in the election interference case involving former President Donald Trump and 8 others. The decision is pending the outcome of their appeal to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. The case, alleging a criminal conspiracy to overturn Trump's defeat in Georgia, is unlikely to go to trial before the fall election or even the new year. It is uncertain whether the case will proceed against the 6 co-defendants who did not join the appeal. Oral arguments for the appeal are scheduled for October 4th. A 3-judge panel has 2 full terms to issue a ruling. If arguments proceed as planned, a ruling could be expected by the first week of March. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Your support is needed now more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content to Muslims in North America and around the world. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam and good night.